Hey, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I'm excited I know Houston has had a horrible day of it, and we are hopefully getting through all of this. I know for myself, I am excited to at least have the internet on today. We have had a horrible couple of days, and I know hopefully life is getting back to normal for a few of you. I know it is for me, and my family is starting to get back there, but it's not 100% by any means. But I'm excited to be with you guys this evening. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the planetary energies and what is affecting us right now, because we have a lot of energies on the planet that are getting really heavy, are going to continue to be heavy, and are just really, really going crazy. And then I'm going to be pulling some angel cards to give you further information or insight. Hi, Miss Carmen, about what's about to happen and how things are happening for not only for ourselves, but for other people as well. So I want you to be, let's see if I've got this all going in the right direction. If y'all have any comments or anything else, please join in and ask any questions that you have or anything like that. It's going to be so much fun, hopefully. And Miss Carmen's on. Thank you. I missed my classes this week. I have had to cancel every one of my classes. That has been like really harsh for me. I enjoy my classes. I enjoy my students. I enjoy getting in touch with you guys and really kind of like amping up your own psychic abilities. And then because it kind of helps me psych up myself. So one of the things that we have been dealing with, I know a lot of people differ on the dates, and I'm going to explain why. I've had several questions of that over the last week or so. So when I start to talk about a planet going into retrograde, I start on the day that that planet actually starts to move backwards, not the date that it's in complete retrograde. So for example, Mercury went into retrograde. Most people say January 30th to February 20th. So that's when it's in hard retrograde. Hi, Miss Stacy. But what I talk about ahead of time is because not only myself, but a lot of my clients as well are very sensitive. And so we are going to be picking up on all of that energy ahead of time. So actually Mercury went into pre-shadow, the beginning where it starts to slow down, January 15th. And then it literally went full retrograde from January 20th until February 20th. And so that is until this Saturday. Hey, Miss Courtney. And then it's going to go into post-shadow where it starts to speed back up. And so we'll start to feel that kind of alleviation of kind of like the pressure of having these hard time communicating, computer issues or anything like that are going to start to kind of lessen. But if you're sensitive, it's going to be harsh all the way through, or you'll feel it more at the beginning, or you may feel it more at the end. And that usually comes in kind of talking about your birth chart. So how it works for you is going to be a little bit differently. One of the things that I have noticed in the last couple of days with a lot of people with this communication, Mercury is the planet of communication. And where this has really come in is every channel you listen to has different numbers, like for Houston with this cold snap. One station will say it's going to be 28 and one one's going to say it's 22. And there's a big difference in that. It's a big difference for our plants and our pets and how long we can leave them outside to go to the bathroom or whatever it is. And it starts to get annoying. It's like when you keep hearing different factors. It's one of those, it gets really, really annoying, like to hear different contradictory stories. Carmen's saying, normally I don't hear anything, but now I'm getting a little here and there with spirits. What I'm getting, Carmen, with what you're asking is it's not necessarily a planetary thing. It's your new energy. It's the new energy on the planet. It's not necessarily a planetary thing, but as our planet energy goes up. And so some people are feeling that affects more than others. And people that have been working on their abilities are going to feel it you're going to kind of feel like this push to keep going forward. But let's go back. Mercury is in the sign of Aquarius, and this is not necessarily a harsh sign. Mercury is always about commanding us to speak from our heart, speak from our mind, speak from our voice, like our soul. What do we really require telling someone else? And I will tell you 9 times out of 10, when it really comes down to it, we go, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to go in there. But this Aquarius energy kind of comes along and pushes a lot of times to the emotional breaking point. And I've heard this from many clients over the last few days of this emotional breakdown of, being overwhelmed. One of my clients called me and she goes, my plant has died. And she was just, devastated over it. And she was like, why? And I said, it's not the plant you're crying over, it's something else. And once we were able to talk and able to communicate with her, it's one of those, we were able to figure out what it was. And it was a trigger, but the plant had just caused it. And so she wasn't really crying over the plant. She was crying over something else, but it was like the plant was just an easy way to let that out. And so this Aquarius energy on top of Mercury is actually just kind of like letting people out their inner secrets. And I've noticed that as other people have talked, like listening to their inner voice or kind of listening to what's coming in, what are those little secrets they really want to let out? I've had a lot of clients that have just kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I shared that. And that's kind of the interesting, cool part is at this time, and you're also seeing it with your political leaders as well. Any leaders, church leaders, community leaders, all the way into our national and statewide leaders. You're going to see those at least for a few more days, and then it'll start to kind of cut back as we get closer to March 13th. But you may still even see some of those depending on how Mercury is in their natal chart. So it kind of like depends. But you may have people say things and they didn't expect to say them, or they said things and they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And the one thing that I will explain to you is I was looking, I think Facebook yesterday, and I was listening to reading an article really quick about a mayor in a small town in West Texas. And he basically, with all the cold snap, he kind of just lost it and kind of really said what he really wanted to say from his heart. But it was one of those, it kind of just blurped out. And he was just like, almost like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe this came out. So it's kind of an interesting way to deal with this energy, but it's secrets that you've wanted to say or things that you've kind of kept like back, and now they're just like bursting forward. Yes, Carmen, that's what I'm talking about. This is all about kind of like having to speak. Mercury in retrograde kind of just pushes you to say things from your heart, your soul, your spirit, kind of like, what does that want you to say forward? And then the Aquarius energy is kind of like, where's the emotion with it? Where's the, like, oh my gosh, I really, really feel this. I really, really want to tell you this. And that emotion keeps coming forward. So that is just one layer of all of this energy. So on top of that, we have, let's see, which one this is. Okay, hold on. Papers are out of order. So we've got Uranus, who has been in retrograde most of 2021. And Uranus's energy is kind of that crazy wild child, wants to like break things down, energy, and then like wants to build things back up. So it's kind of like, I don't really like this, but it's one of those, can you bring this forward? Can you bring this up? And it's kind of like that kind of eclectic, kind of unpredictable changes, that kind of that rebellion, kind of like, and almost in reform, what can we do with this? And that kind of makes it really interesting and kind of weird. But then Taurus has been in the sign, and basically since January 4th, it has been kind of like in that post shadow. So now he's starting to speed back up, and he's in the sign of Taurus, which is all about being steady and driven and patient. So they're kind of like this push and pull energy between the two of them, being solid and determined. Uranus in retrograde in the sign of Taurus is all about analyzing our moves and kind of like, why are we doing this? What is the behind this? Tiffany, your answer to your question is yes. And if you want to go to my website, I will set up something with you and we can chat tomorrow, or you can give me a call. With Uranus in retrograde, the focus, what it's really focusing in on is restricting personal freedom. So it's one of those, when Uranus is in retrograde, it's all about like, let's push all of that together, push all of this energy together, and kind of like what's coming up. Cause it's kind of like we're getting the opposite energy. Instead of being this free flowing, easy person to get along with, I want to like focus you, and I want you to like take away your personal freedoms. And so you're going to see that. And I would say usually you see that on like more of a government stage. You may even see that in family groups where a child was kind of like, I really want to go see my friend. And the parents are like, no, we want to control where you're going. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what's going on with you. So you're going to kind of have that push and pull for a while, a little bit longer. Actually, Uranus leaves retrograde on April 30th, but we are not finished with Uranus in all of this energy, because let me go to that section. I have a whole bunch of them because we got like planets in and out of retrograde. It's one of those. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. So we have some really interesting energy. It actually has happened a couple of times last year. We have Saturn conjunct with Uranus's energy. And really the best way I can explain it to you is like two people pushing to be in the same corner. Like we're pushing our energies. Saturn is all about rules and regulations and what's coming in. And Uranus has, like I said, this wild child kind of attitude. But right now, Uranus is coming out of retrograde. So he's kind of like rules and regulations. Let's throw all these rules out and let's go into what's new. On top of that, we also have like this Saturn who's normally stable and secure and like traditional in habits, kind of like this is the way we've always done it. We've always done it this way. And Saturn is actually going into retrograde. Actually, Saturn is in retrograde as of now. It started retrograde February 14th, so just a few days ago. It will be in full retrograde May 23rd, all the way until October 10th, and then it will leave retrograde January 15th of 2022. So it's going to be in retrograde this whole time. So this Saturn energy that's normally like very stable, secure, what's coming in, that's the really like part that we normally have. And it's kind of like the wild child now. And so kind of each planet is acting differently. So it's kind of, this is what a lot of people are dealing with. This has been a conjunction that happens actually almost every 22 and a half years. And it brings in usually a lot of riots, rebellion, people kind of rethinking what they want in their life, kind of people feeling like they need to stand up and be heard that normally don't. So you're kind of having this kind of bad boy, good boy kind of energy coming at everybody. And so it's kind of this really awkward energy for a lot of people. And the problem is, from this perspective, like you're so far out of it, it's like you're seeing it from almost like a helicopter from the top. You're almost seeing it from that distance. And so it's kind of, you kind of have an idea of what's about to happen, but it's one of those, you're not sure who's going to do it. And that's where we kind of get into this really crazy rebellion energy that's coming on our planet, and kind of like, how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to do all these things? And so that makes a lot of difference. So it's one of those, this happens and it has some pretty hard conjunctions. It had one yesterday, so people are still feeling that effects from what happened yesterday. And it'll kind of loosen over the next couple of weeks, and then it'll do it again. If you look at my newsletter, it'll have all the dates for those conjunctions, and those are the days to be careful and cautious. Not necessarily don't do anything, but be very careful and cautious with things. Let's talk a little bit about Saturn in retrograde. So we went over the dates quickly. So Saturn went into retrograde February 14th on Valentine's Day, just a couple of days ago. It started into its pre-shadow. It's in its full retrograde cycle now, or will be May 23rd to October 10th. And then it'll start after October 10th, it'll start speeding back up and actually leave retrograde January 15th. So kind of, and it's in the sign of Aquarius. So, Saturn's energy, like I said, is very organized and stable and very kind of solid, but kind of in retrograde, like these struggles don't go easy. It's one of those, you have a lot of conflicting stories and a lot of things that don't go smoothly or go as far as you want. And Saturn is the planet of karma. So it's one of those, Saturn is, you're going to see a lot of people's karma kind of bite them in the booty. during this time frame, especially because it's kind of like everything that they got away from the last time since Saturn went into retrograde, came out last time, is going to kind of come back and hit them in the butt. So it kind of is a really interesting energy in that perspective. You're going to have a lot of people that feel like they're not able to make the changes or make the changes they would really like to see. They're not really coming through with a lot of really strong energy coming at us. But the conjunction, that's what Cinnamon's saying, is like the conjunction that happened yesterday, it's like everything went crazy. Everything went crazy. Everybody's energy was all over the place. And that's kind of like the people that are normally like calm, cool, and collected are like wild childs. And then the people that are wild childs are calm, cool, and collected. So you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm like out of balance. And then you've got these two planets just pushing this energy of like, I want to be in control. And so you have people that are normally calm, cool, and collected freaking out. The people that are normally freaking out, calm, cool, and collected. So you're kind of like, what's going on with the world? Everybody's kind of going a little crazy. Everybody's going a little, oh my gosh, what's going on? That's what's happening. There are, like, if you look at my newsletter for February, I talked about the dates. They're coming up. I know there's one, a hard one in May. There's one in June, I think one in July, and then October and December. And that's when you're going to have like a really hard clashing of these energies. The rest of the time, it could be push and pull, and it really depends on where it hits your natal chart, where it's going to affect you or how it's going to affect you in what's coming up. This is one of those years that are kind of be like, oh my gosh, this is a really crazy energy to be in. Let's see. Let's add a little bit of like some more crazy stuff here. So as of January 4th, let me see, Carmen. Yes, grounding meditations during this time frame, Carmen, would really help people to kind of relax their energy and kind of be able to bring a calmness to themselves. This is a really good time to do super, super grounding meditations. I would say these are really good times to do chakra meditations where you're regrounding your root chakra. That's a really good one. Tree meditations. I did a tree meditation a couple of weeks ago and it posted out. This is a really good time to kind of get a rebalance. Tree meditations, kind of you're regrounding your energy, even going outside. I know it's colder than blazes outside, but the closer to the ground that you can get, this is going to help you feel grounded during these time frames. And make sure sometimes it's even harder to get in a meditation. So trying different types of meditation is something that can really help you and kind of help balance that energy. A lot of people I've been hearing from, people that normally meditate, are unable to get into deeper meditation. And so I'm like, this is the time to kind of give that rebel a little bit of a chance of try the music that you normally meditate to. Try a different position, try a moving meditation, try different types of meditation to kind of center your energy and get going. So, and this is part of what's going on. Pluto is normally this kind of very evolving, regenerative, transforming energy. And then it's one of those, it's kind of normally you see the transformation coming from the outside into Pluto's energy. And this time we're going to see it kind of going from inside out. Changes that you've made on the inside are now going to start reflecting on the outside a little bit easier. Pluto is in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorns are very driven. They're very patient. They're very strategic in like, what do I want to do next? How do I want this to show up? How do I want to do this? It makes it a little bit different. It's also kind of like very disciplined. What's coming in? Being very responsible. What do I need to take care of? Pluto's kind of in a reverse revolution, like I said, and it's kind of coming from the inside out. Our internal forces seem to be breaking down. Things that we normally can trust on ourselves or things that would normally come in very easily and changing that energy, it's not coming in as easily. It's also time for us to kind of make some changes for ourselves. Not anybody else. It's, are you ready to make your changes inside of you? It's not anybody else's energy. It's not anybody else's stuff. It's all about you. And what are you willing to change or make different for yourself? Let's see. Okay. Let's add a little crazy moon energy to all of this. Okay. So actually, as of tomorrow, our moon will move into the sign of Taurus. And that's kind of like a great, strong energy for most of us. We're kind of moving in, our new moon energy ends tonight. So if you haven't started kind of like what do you want to bring in new to your life, and kind of like start new relationships, bringing your emotion to that, because we've got that Aquarian energy in there. This is the last night. And then actually as of like just after midnight, at 12:47, our moon goes into the first quarter moon. So this is kind of like the new moon is all about what do you want to bring in new to your energy. And then your first quarter moon is kind of like watching it grow, watching it push in. It will kind of bring in a lot more easy energy, a lot more what's about to change or how things are going to happen for us. So this is a really good time to kind of think about like, what do we want to bring in? So we have time tonight. What do we want to bring in new? What do we want to bring in and add to our lives? Because tomorrow we're going to start on kind of like watching this change. How do we want this to change? Like, what do we want to change? How do we want to deal with this differently than we've done in the past? This is the really cool part for us to kind of work with this moon energy. Moonology is really interesting because you're also going to have that push of Taurus, of kind of like that bull energy of kind of like, what do we want to run at? How do we want to do this tonight? How do we want to deal with this? I would say one of the things is when people start to really work with moon energy, a lot of times they start talking about kind of like, I want to see this in my world. I want to see this in my world. But really where you need to start working on that, and kind of that's the energy that we're already dealing with the planets, is it starts with us. We have to start with us. It's one of those, I have heard, I swear 1,000 clients tell me over time, like, I want my husband to change. I want my wife to change. I want my boyfriend to change, my girlfriend to change, whatever it is, my kids to change, my husband, whatever it is. They want the change on the other person. The problem is we have to start with us. We have to change us and what we want in our lives. Therefore, it will be reflected on the outside. And that's going to really come through not only tonight and tomorrow, but it's as all these planets kind of change, you're going to have that energy keep flowing into what do we want to become? What do we want to bring in? So you want to bring in peace, be peace. When someone yells at you, go, wow, sounds like you're really upset about something. Would you like to sit down and have a conversation? It's not upsetting. It's just they're releasing their energy. They're releasing a lot of emotions that they've been holding on to. Doesn't always have to be personal to you. That's the cool part about this, is what do you want to have happen? How do you want this to happen for you? One of the basic problems is finding your own respect for what you want. And if you want to change you, then it's really important that you look at yourself and move forward. What do you want to change? What are the changes you're willing to make in yourself? What are you willing to change and modify about yourself and come into a new world? It's one of those, with everything that's going in the world, this is a really good time to focus in on finances and what do you want to bring into your finances. If you want to save money, it's one of those, take the quarter out of your pocket and put it into a jar. That's the change. That's the change you want to see. Be the change you want to see. Carmen, you're correct. It's one of those, be the change. So it's like, if you want to save money, find a quarter or a nickel or a dime or whatever else and put that aside. Put that aside. I'm going to put this aside for a rainy day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make those changes with me, and therefore I'm going to see them on the outside world. I'm going to make changes for me and what I want in my world so I can see those changes, not only for me, but the rest of everybody else. And this is a really good time to kind of find peace and tranquility in our world. And like Carmen was saying, like, this is a really good time to amp up your meditation. If you haven't been doing this, I often tell my students, it's not meditating all day long that's going to get you where you want to be. It's meditating 3 to 5 minutes a day, 3 to 5 times a day. it doesn't take hours and hours and hours of like, I need to meditate all day. It's one of those, sometimes it's just that little kick back into reality, kick back into where I want to be, kick back into what I want to see in my world. And if you want peace in your world, then you've got to bring it. You've got to bring it. And when someone else shows you something that's not peace, go, I understand. I understand where you're at right now. And I appreciate it. And when you're ready to sit down and have a conversation, I am willing to sit down with you and have a conversation as well. Yet, I'm not going to allow you to yell at me. I'm not going to allow you to kind of upset what I've got going on. I'm going to accept what you're bringing, as long as it comes in on common terms of being relaxed and being energy. And if it's got a peaceful way to come out of this, if we can both see each other's sides and agree to agree on things, then that's great. Or we can agree to disagree on something. That brings a lot of change and energy. So I'm going to pull a couple of angel cards for you guys. So this is our first card. This is all about retreat. So this one is kind of telling us it's time to take a step back, not forever. Take a little bit of a retreat, or when you feel like you need to take a break, take a break. And this is a really good time to take a meditation. Meditations are amazing. And like I said, I've got several of them out on YouTube that are really great. A great time to do a couple of minute meditations. I will be posting some more meditations over the next few weeks or so. So make sure that you're looking for those. Serenity. If we want peace, we have to bring peace. If I want peace in my world, I have to bring peace to my world. I have to bring peace and understanding that people don't have always the same insights I do. That's the important part in this. Let's see. Let's pull a couple more cards. I got a couple of them zinging in my hands. Study. This is also a great time to take some study. If you're not in a class or you're not reading a current book, find something that really kind of moves your energy, something that just kind of like, wow, I saw something the other day and I downloaded it and I've been listening to it ever since. Just something I found on YouTube. It was a great video. Study is a really great thing to do at this time frame. Study is something that we should always be doing. Always looking for that next thing that I want to study or understand. Someone used a word a couple of weeks ago and I was like, I don't understand that at all. So I went through and I researched the word and kind of found my own truth and meaning in that. And it was really interesting. It was an old world terminology, and I just thought it was really neat. Let's see. Carmela saying, I have been so annoyed lately. Release work is so necessary. It is. Releasing energy, being that serenity that we want to bring, and bringing that peace. It can bring in such energy to each of us. It's very important. And to find what we really want. And that's the next card, is intention. So what are we intending to bring into our world? What do we want to bring into us? What do we want to bring into each other? So even though we've got 20 people between us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, it's one of those, what are the 20 of us choosing to bring into our world? What are we intending? Peace, harmony, love, respect, grounding. What do we want to bring? That's the most important part, is what we're choosing to bring in. I'm choosing to bring in understanding. And when y'all listen to me and y'all take this insight back to other people and you explain it to them, it's one of those, we're all going to understand. We're all going to have a deeper insight, and we're all going to be able to come with a better harmonious energy forward. That's the best part of all of this, is y'all go out and do this. It's one of those, and we do it all the time. We see a news story that really moved us, or we see a video that really moved us, and we tell other people about it. And it's one of those, it's great to share our insight and to understand when someone comes at us and is yelling or arguing with us, to know that we can hold our own peace and go, you know what, just because you're unpeaceful doesn't mean I have to change. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready to hear you. It's one of those, I had it with a client 2 weeks ago, and the client was very raging mad about something. And I said, I'll sit here and listen to you as long as we have a peaceful conversation. And we're both listening. We're not talking over each other's words. And we turned out to have an amazing connection, amazing energy between us, and able to kind of find a new insight and a new way to kind of work through his world. That was the best part of it. New love. This is something that I will tell you that I really feel like this is more of a moonology. And it's one of those, I want you to fall in love with you. If you don't love you, how can someone else love you? If you don't love your arms or your legs or your thighs or whatever it is, how can you expect someone else to? If you don't love your attitude, how can you expect someone else to? You have to love you so someone else can love you. If you're going, I don't love this, I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't like this about me or whatever else. It's one of those, Carmela saying, our sovereignty is the most important part of the I am. It is what you state with your I am statement. It's one of those, I am love, I am light. I bring it everywhere I go. And that's the most important part that we bring into our world. It is very important. Now, this is the last card I'm going to pull for us tonight. I got a couple of them jumping right here. So this is the card, emerging. This is all about what energy we emerge from our heart is going to take over our world. What energy we allow from our heart is going to take over our world. What is that energy going to be? What are you choosing to bring energy in? Is that light? Is it love? Is it understanding? Whatever it is, and it doesn't matter what your job is or what your career path is or whatever it is, it's everywhere you go. When you bring light and love to the world, you take it everywhere you go. You take it to the grocery store, you take it to the supermarket, you take it wherever, when you buy clothes, when you go out, when people were standing in line waiting for gas. It's one of those, we take it everywhere. And when we bring that, we really infect other people with our love, with our light and our understanding. I thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight. I thank y'all so much. If you enjoyed tonight, make sure you like and subscribe and share the video. I will hopefully be on next week. Hopefully we will have a little bit less crazy stuff. And next week, I am going to be talking about something new and something different, about some energies that are coming in March. And I'm going to be talking about how energy is going to affect you. So that's the important part. I thank y'all so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Y'all have an amazing time. Love you guys.